So we'd like to welcome you to the Virginia Farm to School Toolkit webinar series, a collaboration of Virginia Cooperative Extension and the Virginia Department of Education School Nutrition Programs. I'm Amber Vallotton, Produce Safety Extension Specialist at Virginia Tech, and I'm joined by my colleague, Stuart Vermack, Food Safety Extension Agent based in Loudoun County, and we are co-leads for the VCE Farm to School program team. This webinar series is designed to support and explain each chapter of the Virginia Farm to School Toolkit, which was developed to guide VCE Extension agents, school division administrators, school nutrition professionals, educators, school garden coordinators, and others toward using farm to school practices as a means to increase equitable access to fresh, healthy Virginia-grown food while providing hands-on learning opportunities in a variety of educational settings. Today's webinar is entitled Telling the Farm to School Story, and our goal is to convey the importance of farm to school practitioners sharing their stories with stakeholders as a means to garner more support and farm to school buy-in throughout the Commonwealth. We're really excited to be joined today by three panelists who exemplify sharing the farm to school stories at both the local and state levels. We have Ronnie Lapel and Casey Dickinson from Chesterfield County Public Schools and Callie Nichols from Virginia Department of Education. We want to thank you all so much for being here today. Ronnie will begin today by sharing key points from the toolkit, telling the farm to school story, along with many examples from her work. Casey will then share about her local work with a summer feeding program at the county farmers market. Callie will then share about her work at the state level. We will then open up the rest of the webinar for your questions. As our panelists share, we encourage you to add any questions to the chat box so that we can have our panelists share their perspectives once they present their slides. So without further ado, I'd like to hand this over to Ronnie Lapel.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm happy to be with you today, and I look forward to telling more about how Chesterfield promotes the farm to school story. Next slide, please. We know the farm to school program connects cafeterias to the farm to school program, benefits federal meal programs, and helps to gain customers, helps students understand where their food comes from, and builds awareness for the local farmers in our community. Next slide, please. The Virginia Department of Education partnered with regional food hubs during this year and to deliver nearly $2.2 million of local foods to school nutrition programs. The centralized local procurement pilot program funded by the USDA Supply Chain Assistance Grant helped school nutrition programs to avoid supply chain disruptions. And Chesterfield was one of the 70 school districts that were included in this pilot program, and we worked with 4 Pete Foods out of Warrenton, Virginia. Next slide, please. Our delivery drivers are rock stars. Photos here are taken to promote our local social media. On our local social media, Food and Nutrition Services must go through Chesterfield County Public School communications for all divisional social media postings. It's really important to take high quality photos to market your program. And there is valuable information on how to take those photos that is available on page 45 of the Virginia Farm to School Toolkit. In addition, CCPS Communications provides our social media posts. You can do your own sample media. Posts are available on page 49 of the Virginia Farm to School Toolkit. Next slide, please. All right, Virginia Farm to School Week. Next slide, please. Using high quality local food grown in a great way to market your nutrition programs. Use symbols to indicate when food is scratch cooked and or local to educate parents and students about Harvest of the Month. This is an example of an elementary menu. I do one per week for middle and high school, and they are also published monthly and do highlight our local products. Here, this particular menu highlights our Virginia Farm to School Week, also Crunch Heard Around the Commonwealth, and then the harvest of the month, which is Virginia grown apples. Next slide, please. Farm to School provides unique opportunities for student engagement and leadership. Here, Career and Technical Center Courthouse Campus, urban, agriculture, plant and soil sciences students are very involved in teaching others about the value of local agriculture. You'll see a picture of their tower garden that was on display in the cafeteria. They had hoped to have had enough lettuce to provide to the student body, but instead offered organic local lettuce from Broad Fork Farms in Moseley, Virginia. Invite your local newspaper or television station by posting a brief media release before the event. Chesterfield County Public Schools Communications did that on our behalf. And you'll see at the end of the table on the left picture, there's WRIC Channel 8 News that came to tape the events at CTC. Next slide, please. Celebrating the crunch herd around the Commonwealth is every October, and all cafeterias at Chesterfield serve local procured apples from Crown Orchard during lunch. Cafeterias are encouraging staff, students, and administrators to take a bite and make some noise for the Virginia Farm to School programs. Next slide, please. Orchardist and family member Sarah Childs from Crown Orchard met with CTC Courthouse baking and pastry arts students. The Apple to Apple Baking Challenge, a classroom activity, incorporated students who created and produced recipes using Crown Orchard apples. The final products were judged by Sarah, students, and administration, and the winner received the Golden Apple Award. Always remember to try to inform the VDOE SNP, or Virginia Department of Education School Nutrition Programs, about upcoming special events at least a month before your event so they can attend and share your events on social media. Next slide, please. Urban agriculture students invited CTC Courthouse students to take part in the crunch. Sarah was the official crunch lead in celebration of the farmers and the orchardists, and over 600 students have participated. Next slide, please. Here's another opportunity where Sarah met with the urban ag students to discuss her family's agriculture operations, the community, and stewardship involvement since 1912. This classroom activity covered pruning and care practices and what educational experiences she recommended for orchard and agritourism. Next slide, please. Telling the farm to school story through social media improves perception, and here you have students enjoying local pink lady apples. Always make sure to get permission to post your photos from your administrators. Next slide, please. The mobile dairy classroom. Next slide, please. This valuable community partner provided free education to over 4,000 students this year about the importance of dairy for good health. They talked about the modern milking methods, the processes, and even showed the students how to milk a cow. This activity includes math, science, health, and agricultural education presented in an outdoor setting. And they have also met, besides elementary and middle schools, they have met with environmental biotech, veterinary sciences, baking and pastry arts, and culinary students. Next slide, please. Virginia Harvest of the Month is a program that promotes good seasonal fruit and vegetable consumption to support local economies. Here are examples of 11 by 17 posters that were created to highlight the variety of local, fresh, and seasonally grown produce that we purchase. The posters highlight the grower, produce, the nutrition fact, and a recipe or two each month. They are marketed on all serving lines. They are posted on the CCPS website and social media to increase awareness and to improve perception. Next slide, please. These posters are provided by the Virginia Department of Education School Nutrition Programs, and in January of 2022, all secondary cafeterias received the student-designed posters on your right through the USDA Team Nutrition Grant. Next slide, please. We wanted to make sure that students identified with the Harvest of the Month on the serving line, so I worked with Alpha Graphics to come up with a 5x5 static cling printed on a product called Glass Appeal Clear. It's designed to tolerate heat. It looks nice and transparent so the students can see the harvest of the month item through it. It looks professional. And then it can be removed and placed on a slip of paper, a piece of paper, and then reused again the next time you are highlighting a harvest of the month item. And consider to take pictures ahead of time when you're doing things to capture images and events. Share those images the day of or the day after the event. Next slide, please. In July of 2020, Food and Nutrition Services was awarded a $1,000 sponsorship to support nutrition education in the classroom. And the goals is to support nutrition education as a component of the school wellness policy. In spring of 2021, we worked with Go Green to provide a hands-on lessons for third graders at 3 elementary schools. They received their own garden sets of pots, soil, and seeds, nutritional and instructional materials. Over 150 students created a garden-ready plant for them to take home. It was either strawberry, basil, or lemon balm. This classroom activity was videotaped by Food and Nutrition Services and posted on social media. Next slide, please. Next slide. This educational activity promotes World School Milk Day and is celebrated on the last Wednesday in September. Students received donated coloring books, cow masks, and pencils, and a Virginia Tech dairy video took students on a virtual trip to the farm. Our manager at Falling Creek Elementary is exceptional, and she goes above and beyond and enjoys doing fun things with her students. These happen to be 150 interim students. And so she created the t-shirts for her staff and networked with a variety of companies for the donated products, and even provided show and tell items like old milk jugs, actual calf's feeding bottle, and hay. Next slide, please. Also, we like to distribute this rack card. We find it a helpful resource for families and community. It's distributed to all school offices and Chesterfield branch libraries, and it gives us a chance to also include the benefit of Virginia Farm to School. This year, we are going to do the same thing and do it in Spanish as well. All right, next slide, please. We continue Farm to School campaign here in our office, in our central office test kitchen. We went through a renovation a couple years ago and had this wonderful space and decided to create with Iconograph, who is a creative studio in Charlottesville, to design this storyboard. And the vignettes continue to help brand the Farm to School and our food and nutrition programs to our schools and our community. Next slide, please. So telling our stakeholders about the Farm to School work that is taking place in a school division is important because it adds value to our program. The quality of the food tells its own story, but using local products and then promoting them sends a positive tone. When more people recognize that lunchtime is a learning time, the school meals gain value as an important component of the educational system. Thank you very much. And now I'd like to introduce Casey Dickinson.
Thanks, Ronnie. So as Ronnie just covered a lot of great marketing information as it relates to the cafeteria in the classroom, but as school nutrition professionals, I believe that we have a responsibility to continue to serve students even in the summer months. I just got the number about 15 minutes ago, but in Chesterfield County, we serve just over 8 million meals this school year, which is a phenomenal number to think about when we're thinking about Farm to School and the reach that we have, and how at the end of the school year, there are still children that need to eat, even though school may not be in session. And so my advice to you is that might seem a little overwhelming at first, those types of large numbers, but just start small. And I think one really great opportunity where you can start small is thinking about the summer food service program. Next slide. So the Summer Food Service Program is a federal program that area eligibility sites can qualify, and this program ensures children continue to have access to nutritious meals during the summer in emergency situations, such as the COVID-19 pandemic. If sites are eligible, then children ages 1 to 18 can receive a meal for free of charge. And then the sponsor organizing these sites would receive a federal reimbursement for those reimbursable meals. And so this summer, Chesterfield County schools will operate 35 summer feeding sites during the summer, which is half of our site operations compared to the school year. So during the school year, we do 67 school kitchens. So this is a bit more of a bite size for us when it comes to how we can start to really focus on farm to school. Next slide. So I've always been really passionate about farmers markets, and some of the great work of some of my colleagues in other school divisions, such as Stanton City, have been really inspiring to me when we're talking about farm to school and how we connect the cafeteria back to our local economy. And so when I first started, Ronnie can tell you, one of the very first things I said I wanted to do is I said, I want to feed kids during the summer and I want to do a site at the farmers market, because what a really great opportunity to really have a focus on our entire community. So the school, our local producers, and then also some community organizations. And so last year I planted the seed with Chris Allen, who is the coordinator of our farmers market. And I was like, I want to feed kids next year. And so I'm happy to announce that this seed has kind of grown into a plant, if you will. We're going to have a whole garden soon, and we've created a video to highlight our upcoming farmers market. If you can go ahead and play that. Right, next slide. There we go. And so as a part of this feeding site, what we plan to do is each week feature a local farmer or producer within the meal that we'll be handing out for free. And so I've listed some of the producers and farmers up on the screen here, but we're also going to be incorporating some scratch cooking in this process as well, because our students deserve the freshest, most quality, high ingredients they can get. So, you know, the first one with More Farms is cucumbers. We're going to be doing a marinated cucumber salad, and that's going to be paired with a homemade mac and cheese with raw milk from Richland's Creamery. And we're going to continue on. We're actually going to dabble in using some raw ground beef, of course, cooked for the site. But this is a way for us to really incorporate farm to school and scratch cooking in more bite-sized pieces for us to manage, and then talk about how we can expand it out. But I think this is a great opportunity, again, for us to highlight what we do outside of the school environment, but also highlight our local farmers and producers. Next slide. So each week, this is one of the marketing tools we'll be using. So at our tent setup, we'll be highlighting the local producer for that week, and then doing some type of fun fact to incorporate, again, to tie it all together. Next slide. And as we've navigated this, so school nutrition, we're really good at the food part. We're good at feeding kids. But we have other community partnerships where they're really good at what they do. And so Ronnie's done a really great job at reaching out to some of our local partners, such as Cooperative Extension, the Dairy Alliance, the Beef Council, the National Honey Board, No Kid Hungry, who are also going to help us on this marketing journey, because they have buy-in to this work as well. So they're also going to help share our story by doing activities with us each week. And a part of those activities, I've shown some marketing tools. We will also use, one of the examples here is some nutrition facts, on honey. The week that we're featuring honey, we are actually going to have a beekeeper come in and highlight bees. So it's really going to be this extravagant event where we're feeding kids, but it's exciting and they want to stay and they want to come to the farmers market and they want to meet farmers. Next slide. And so you're probably thinking, like, how much does this cost? Well, if you're not aware, most school nutrition programs are self-sufficient. And what that means is the majority, including Chesterfield, we do not receive any money from our general school board fund. So all the money that we have is just reimbursements that we receive for meals and any grant funding that we're able to get. So we have to be pretty frugal when we're talking about marketing and any type of event planning that we're doing. So for this event, we did purchase a 10-foot vinyl banner that mimics the graphic that Ronnie showed on our kitchen wall, just to set up the nuance and to brand us as Chesterfield County Food and Nutrition Services. So that did cost us $100, but that wouldn't be necessary for every organization or every event that you may want to do. We're also going to purchase some picnic blankets just to give people that are participating a place to sit and enjoy their meal, to entice them to stay and consume that meal on site, because that is a requirement of the summer food service program. We have some crafts and activities planned. Again, most of that came from our community partners, but some paper supplies we'll have to buy, approximately $30 to $50. Social media, Ronnie is going to do a knockout job with that, I know. That's free. The video you just saw, that was created on Canva for free. And then again, partnerships are always free. And from this type of work, people are willing to throw money, resources, activities at you if you just ask for the help. Next slide. And so kind of just to round this all out, when it comes to marketing, for not a lot of money or just a little bit of money, my first advice is just to tell anyone and everyone that's willing to listen to your story. You know, if I'm sitting on an airplane and someone asks what I do and I tell them I work in school nutrition, and then they ask questions, I make sure to tell them about all the great work that we're doing. And I can't tell you how many people I've mentioned this farmers market to in our community. So joining local community boards, state agencies are willing to share out this work. And I'm sure Callie will touch on that a bit. And again, I've said it once, I'll say it again, and I'll probably say it 4 more times. Partnerships are so important in this work. Again, social media, videos, we do public media releases. So both in our Friday family updates that every household in Chesterfield will receive, we send it out to news channels, and if they pick it up, that's great. And then we'll send it out to newspapers as well. And then free and low cost graphics. There are a lot of plug and play websites out there. So I mentioned one, Canva is my personal favorite. I don't pay for the premium. I just use the free platform. And it's really user friendly and has all the graphics. We also use Adobe here in Chesterfield, which I believe is, I think, $19.99 for a year subscription. So totally reasonable. They have a ton of graphics, again, pretty user friendly. So those are just some great resources when you're thinking about creating eye-catching professional materials for your events. Next slide. And so with that, you know, I think this project that we're working on here in Chesterfield, again, it really just encompasses what we highlight and prioritize in our program. But when you're talking farm to school, school is only half of it. Farm is the other half. And so I think this project truly highlights the 2 main pieces, and there's more, but the 2 big priorities in farm to school, which is our local farmers in the school. And I can't wait to invest back into our community for the benefit of our students of Chesterfield County. And so thanks for letting me tell our story today. And I'm going to hand it over to Callie.
Thanks, Casey. Well, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Callie Nichols. I am the School Nutrition Programs Training and Marketing Specialist with the Virginia Department of Education Office of School Nutrition Programs. I'm so excited to join this conversation about how we tell the story of Virginia farm to school programs. This is one of my passions, is how we tell the story of child nutrition programs and how they work across the Commonwealth. Both Ronnie and Casey have just beautifully outlined the farm to school work that they are doing in Chesterfield and how they're promoting that work within their community. So now I'm going to zoom out a bit, take a step back, and talk about farm to school promotion at the state level, tell you a little bit about what we are doing as a state agency, and also provide you just some tips and some resources along the way. Next slide. So before I get started, I do want to take a moment to just encourage and empower you. Often when programs or organizations gather around the table to talk about marketing and promotion and outreach, one of their first questions is, how do we even get people interested in the story that we're telling? And fortunately for you, you don't really have to ask that question because people are inherently interested and curious about farm to school programming. I've just pulled a few headlines for you to demonstrate this point. Those first 3 headlines, I just Googled last week, farm to school work. These are just the first 3 headlines that came in my Google search. And those stories are from across the country and really from the national story of farm to school. And then the last news story on the slide is, of course, from our very own Pulaski County in the work that they were doing earlier this year in February. And so I pull these headlines, I show you these headlines just to remind you that people are really interested in the work that you're doing. They're interested in Virginia farm to school, so much so that they're already talking about it. And so because of that, this is just such a great time to enter the conversation, to add to the conversation, to keep the momentum going, to share the work that you're doing. The work that you're doing is interesting and it is inspiring. So I encourage you not to be shy about sharing what you're doing. Next slide. So at the state level, there are several strategies that we employ to promote Virginia farm to school programs. We have regional networks, multimedia stories, and then social media, and I'll touch on each of these. I'm going to kind of breeze through these first 2 and focus a little bit more on social media, since as our office's marketing specialist, that's really where I have my hands in the dirt when it comes to farm to school. But yeah, let's first talk about those regional networks. So as a state, building and strengthening the regional farm to school networks throughout Virginia is such a priority in our work. Next slide, please. So of course, we had the regional farm to school network meetings in February and March. And as with every other component of programming, collaboration and partnership of the whole really enhance the efforts of the individual, and marketing and promotion are no exception to that. So continuing to build these relationships is key to how we talk about Virginia farm to school. We are really excited. These meetings were highlighted in the March edition of The Dirt, which is an e-newsletter of the USDA Patrick Leahy Farm to School program. And it was highlighted as a model for other states as they are building out their farm to school networks. And so that's really exciting to see that recognition at the national level. And again, people are just so curious and interested in knowing how that's working across the country. So we are really thrilled to see that kind of enter the national farm to school story. Next slide, please. So secondly, we do have a couple multimedia stories that are currently in production, and we hope that these will be a resource for you in your farm to school work, and they certainly promote the Virginia farm to school story. Next slide, please. So both of these projects are grant funded. We were able to contract with a company to both film and produce these projects. So first we have 7 Harvest of the Month recipe demonstration videos. And these videos feature local school nutrition professionals, which is great. We always love to highlight those local school nutrition heroes when we can. So these videos, along with the standardized recipe manual, will be an excellent resource for schools to increase the use of local and seasonal foods in their school menus. And then we also have 3 Virginia Farm to School videos in the works. We actually just got some rough cuts from the producers last week. So I'm really excited once we are able to finally share those with you all. But these videos are just a beautiful testimony to what's going on around Virginia. They feature voices from school nutrition directors, from local producers, from food hubs, and other partnering programs on how they work collaboratively to expand their farm to school programs. So the hope really is that these videos will not only promote the awesome farm to school work that's already happening in Virginia, but that they also serve as a resource for programs really looking to expand and diversify their farm to school programming as well. Next slide, please. Both of those last efforts, as I mentioned, are grant funded. And I hope that you have and that you will continue to benefit from those projects. That's the intention of the state receiving those grant funds, is for you all to have those resources. But of course, I recognize that not all organizations have access to those funds when you are creating your own marketing, promotional materials, when you're trying to still tell your individual story of farm to school programs. So if you are looking for ways to expand your marketing and promotional efforts, this is it, social media. It is the free and ever evolving marketing and promotional tool. And as I mentioned earlier, as our office's marketing specialist, this is really where I focus most of my efforts when it comes to farm to school. Next slide, please. So let's talk a little bit of nitty gritty when it comes to social media. Let's talk strategic plan. So this is a glimpse at my social media strategic plan. When I began in this position back in November, I really sat down with our social media and I wanted to boil down all of our posts into 3 main goals. And these are the goals that I created in partnership with my colleagues. So 1, to highlight local programs, schools, community organizations, other partners, to promote those local programs, to promote what's happening at the local level, and also to promote initiatives and trainings and other resources that we're developing at our office. And then also to use our platform to educate the general public about what child nutrition programs look like in Virginia by showcasing what they actually look like in Virginia. So every post that you see on our social media platforms is highlighting a program, promoting a program or resource, or educating the public, or a combination of any of the 3. So whatever social media platforms you may use to promote your efforts, I really recommend that you take a step back and you take some time to envision what it is that you want those platforms to do for you. What is that strategic plan? And it can be as simple as what you see on the slide, these 3 bullet points. This could be an easy visual reminder you could put up on a bulletin board, put it as your screensaver, or it can be as detailed as you would like. But regardless, creating some sort of structure can really be helpful when you're managing social media. As you can imagine, Farm to School really neatly fits into each of these goals. Social media is a great place to highlight your Farm to School programs, to promote what events are going on or what resources that you're offering, and to educate the public about what Virginia Farm to School looks like. One of my favorite parts of my job is that I get to use our platform as a state agency to elevate the work that you are doing at the local level. And I truly would love nothing more than to promote the awesome work that y'all are already doing. So whenever you have taste tests or take farm field trips, if you are hosting culinary or nutrition education, or you're using a Harvest of the Month lesson plan or conducting lessons in a school garden, maybe you're receiving a shipment of local foods for your nutrition programs, or maybe you're helping a local producer harvest in the field, take a lot of pictures, post them, and then use the hashtag Virginia Farm to School. When you use that hashtag, you enter that work into the global conversation of Virginia Farm to School, which of course is crucial to elevate what everybody else is doing across the Commonwealth. It also helps people understand that Farm to School is so much bigger and encompasses so many more activities than really anyone realizes. And of course, we are also much more likely to see your post and be able to promote your post if you use that hashtag. And if you would like, also feel free to tag us. And then the other tip that I have that really dovetails into what Casey was saying regarding social media is to connect with your partners. So connect with your partners online. Whatever you're promoting, make sure to tag the partnering organizations who helped make that work possible. I know that it's so basic when it comes to social media, but the more people who are tagged and connected to a post, the more people are going to see that post, and the more people are going to see that Virginia Farm to School story that you are telling. Next slide, please. So here are just a few examples of some photos and posts that we shared on our social media platforms. In so many ways, really, I am quite new to this position that I have right now, but what I've seen in the past 6 months is that pictures really get responses from people. People love to see pictures on social media. Like I said at the beginning of this presentation, people are inherently interested in Virginia Farm to School. They want to know what goes on behind the scenes. So show them. Make sure to share videos of food being harvested or loaded onto or unloaded off of a truck. If you have local master gardeners coming into your school to work with your students, promote that as Virginia Farm to School work. And as Ronnie mentioned in her section as well, if you have any special events coming up, make sure to share those with us through our events and activities form. We periodically reshare this link, but it's open year-round every single day. So you can scan that QR code there in the presentation, or you can use the link listed below. And if you share those events with us, we monitor that frequently, and we'll promote that on our social as well. Next slide, please. Thank you so much for your time and attention. I could talk about social media a lot longer than you would care to listen to me talk about it. So, but if you need any resources, or if you have any specific marketing questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. And at this point, I will hand it back to Amber.
Okay, well, thank you all so much. Amazing, just so exciting to see all the great things that are going on in Virginia, and some of your different perspectives on, a couple things that really stood out to me was partnerships. That was emphasized, I think, in all of the talks, is how important that is. And I think we agree that that's just so vital to making farm to school happen. The other thing was the importance of seeing that farm to school was so much bigger than maybe sometimes we tend to think of it strictly the classroom, but that farm to school is the after school programs, it's the summer feeding programs, it's so much, it's about the farm, of course, that's the farm and the farm to school. So I wanted to open it up if folks who are attending today have any questions or that you'd like to share. So I just encourage you, we have a smaller group, so feel free to unmute yourself and you can say your question that you have for us. And Stuart will also shortly be putting the contact information for the panelists in the chat box towards the end of today, but we will have that information available for you. So are there any questions that anybody has, any comments, stories you'd like to share that are going on in your areas?
So I guess this is kind of just like a broader question, but I'm actually the Ag and Natural Resources Extension agent in Montgomery County. And I'm actually from Pulaski County. So I've talked to Ethelene Sadler. She's awesome. And I'm trying to work with the nutrition in Montgomery County and see if we can get something started. But I guess as far as from an extension agent perspective, what is it that we can do to help in, sharing these stories and getting all of these connections made?
So I'm going to open it up to the panel. Please feel free to share your responses.
I'll speak from, I guess, an assistant director perspective. So I think one of the biggest challenges that we're trying to overcome is finding farmers or producers that kind of have what we need and what we want. And so even if that's just giving your local districts, contacts for people that are interested in this work to be able to reach out to, because I think that is like the biggest hurdle, right? Like, who's ready to bring us food? And so I think for me, just having that local resource would be really helpful. And the producer meetings from the state were kind of that big step for us.
Yeah, to piggyback off of that, I think as an extension agent, you are in such a cool place in being able to bridge those partnerships. And so once you are able to make those partnerships and those connections, something that's really helpful is, I will say pictures over and over and over again. You're in a place where you can provide pictures of those local producers to the school division. So as school divisions are trying to promote their farm to school work, they want pictures of where that food's coming from, and that can really assist them. So even if you aren't managing your own social media, or you're not posting yourself, you can provide those pictures to those partners, and that can be really helpful to elevate the work that you're doing.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah, and I'd like to kind of add, if I may, just we've mentioned the bringing the farm to school. So that was a grower training that we had back in February and March, and we had 4 different locations throughout the state that we taught that at. So we do have a curriculum within Extension it's actually from NCAT, are the ones that produce that training, and we are going to be continuing to build upon those initial trainings that we have. So if you're an extension and you're interested in being a part of that, we really would love to share that with you. I'll also put in again a plug for the toolkit that this is all based upon, but that has a lot of really great information as well on how to make those connections. In these webinar series, we'll be talking more about procurement, the piece that Casey mentioned, just how important that part of it is, and trying to make those linkages and all that. So we'll make sure that we post that in. And as a part of the grant, the USDA grant that is ending pretty soon here, we have, I just ordered 170 toolkits. So those are going to be available for folks that we can follow up with. So if that's something you would like, I'd be more than happy to get that to you. But
yeah, that would be great. And I actually was planning to go to one of those meetings with full, but
okay.
ended up getting COVID after avoiding it 2 or 3, the last years.
Well, there will be more opportunities for sure. Any other questions folks have? Because we do want to give you we've got 3 great speakers here who have so much experience, and their stories that they've shared are fantastic. So you also, if you don't really want to shout it out, you could also type your question in the chat box, and we'll be happy to. I kind of wanted to follow up on something that you mentioned, the whole idea of that things don't have to cost a lot. So, I think about videos, and you shared your video you did, which was on Canvas. So it was pretty impressive for like a free style. So I'm just curious, what would you, or where would you say would be a really great place to start if people are wanting, besides the social media side of things, like how people could maybe create their own marketing materials without having to spend a lot of money if resources are limited? I know that whether you're an extension or, as you mentioned, with the school nutrition programs, that there's not a lot of expendable money that's just sitting around there unless you write a grant. So if they don't have those grant funds, what would you suggest would be a great place to start?
Well, so Ronnie does most of our marketing work, so she might be able to tag in here. I would say if I'm looking for something really specific, my first stop is to Google free template, insert whatever I'm looking for, and see if I can find something that's already kind of created for me. The World Wide Web is a wonderful thing. But I mean, honestly, my go-to is generally Canva. I mean, I do have some design background, so I'm sure that helps a little bit. But I'm a pretty frugal spender in my personal life, and so that just kind of rolls over But or if I know of another school division that has something that I really like, I've been known to reach out directly and say, hey, I really liked how you did this. Would you mind sharing? We're working on like an onboarding video now, and I reached out to a school division that has one. So there's no reason to rebuild things when someone else has probably already done it. I think we're each other's greatest resource in that aspect. And a lot of that is free.
Yes, and I'll add that when I started, there wasn't a lot of already created material. So I did go take classes. I took classes for InDesign and Illustrator and Photoshop, and did a lot of the work on Illustrator. And a lot of the work that I did could be used over and over. The menus, I can change the flyers, and it allowed me to be creative in a different way. Then I liked Canva because I didn't have to think so much as what I want it to look like. I have these great templates. We did, during COVID, we produced a video here, and it was part of the Virginia School Board Association submission that we had about feeding healthy meals or access to children's meals, access to families. And we didn't have anybody here. There wasn't anybody working. So an IT gentleman in our office and myself went out to Bellwood Elementary, and we just used our phone and just videotaped, and then went in and spliced it and added music to it. And I wrote up a script, and the director at the time read the script, as an overlay, I guess, to that. And it was great. It was great. We sent it out to Food Director magazine, and it was simple, and it didn't cost anything. And he was so clever. He just had a program that he could take that information and edit it. And other times we've used our Chesterfield communications to do the videos. They're just so busy. And if I can catch them, like I want them to take a look at the upcoming first day of the farmers market at the end of June, but they can't make it, so we'll probably do something on our own. Just because I think it's an important day, and I want to capture that first day. I think there's something to be said for that. But don't let, if you can't, just, whether you use your phone or if you have a handheld camcorder, you can produce some very nice videos that way.
This is just a random comment along those lines, though. But if you're working in the school systems, I'd also say reach out to your high school classes that are doing this, because people love things that come from students. And then it kind of just broadens that outreach.
Ronnie does a lot of work with our marketing classes. So we hold competitions with those students. And so they do a lot of our National School Breakfast Week, School Lunch Week promotions. We had a video created for this Breakfast Week, right, Ronnie?
Yep.
Yep. No Kid Hungry picked it up. It went national. So we went viral momentarily, but it was student created. So yes, that's a great recommendation.
Well, and we've had some producers who have actually gone to some of the IT classes to get help with website design and things like that. So it kind of helps to promote everybody. And people love student projects.
That's a great idea. Seems like there's another series I've heard of, like videos or something that happened with that, where students were the ones that were the primary people who were actually doing the promotional part of it. So that's really cool.
Yeah.
Other comments or questions that folks have? We're about 10 minutes left here. Just want to make sure that you have an opportunity.
Yeah, I'll just plug something for some other school divisions. So the way that we're set up here in Chesterfield, we're really fortunate to have a role dedicated to this, marketing, telling our story. And Ronnie's really good at what she does. But that might not be the same for every school division. They might just have a director and then their field staff. And so you have one person kind of wearing many hats. And so I would say just being considerate of where a school division is in their story. And sometimes they may just be at the very beginning, and just offering to market for them would be such a huge help. And that would be a good place to start in some of those smaller school divisions, or even divisions maybe that you're having challenges with connecting with. It's hard to turn down someone that's giving you free promotion. So
yeah, you had mentioned the regional networks, Callie, when you shared your talk, and I did want to put in a plug for that. So for those of you that are on the call, or on the webinar, there is another grant that USDA received, and that is going to be for promoting regional networks throughout the state. There's 8 of them, and so there will be a lot of opportunities there. And so as we move forward, I think telling the story, it would seem to me, would be a critical piece. Would you agree with that? Like telling the story within those different locations, whether it's Pulaski or Chesterfield or wherever it might be throughout the state, just being able to share that will really grow those networks and also help with getting the stakeholder buy-in from lots of different levels.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you all know, farm to school looks so different based on where you are in Virginia. So it is so important to have those regional bases of knowledge and expertise and collaboration, and being able to tell the whole farm to school story by telling how it looks like throughout the Commonwealth. And that's such a cool opportunity as we move forward in building out those networks.
So what are some other resources you all can suggest for folks? I'm thinking about the farm to school census, which I don't know when that's going to come out. That's pretty soon, right? That'll be coming out again, or and how that may be able to be used within the state or at different localities to get more buy-in and also to help tell that story. Can you speak to that?
I feel like I should be able to speak to that. But hey, Ronnie, can you tap in? I think any type of data that supports our local community and how, that data can assist our strategic planning, I think is always helpful in the direction we're heading. If it's farm to school or free and reduced data, I think that's my best effort at that one.
Yeah, and I mean, at the state level, of course, data, we love data. We love being able to show, what's happening and how it's working, and really being able to see the efforts and see the progress. So yeah, I'm not sure when the next farm to school census will be released. I looked at it briefly recently, but I can't remember what time of year it gets released. So that'll be fun when it is released and we can see what we see.
Yes. But there are some great resources. I know the Farm to School, the National Farm to School Network has some wonderful, and USDA as well has some really great resources that can also be used as a part of telling the story, just to local stakeholders. And again, as those connections are going to be used, that's going to really be necessary. I think, especially if you're looking at getting grants, that is always a great thing to be able to show those numbers, to show the growth, to show the trajectory that's happening. Stuart, would you like to comment on what you just posted in the chat box? Or
yeah, sure. I just added a link to, we've been speaking about the Farm to School Regional Network. And there are meetings that are periodically happening, and so the link that I just put in the chat box is to receive updates on that. So if you're Meredith, figuring out how to get involved, that's a great way to do that, so that you're informed about the next meetings that are coming up.
Thank you, Stuart. So with just a few minutes we have left, are there any other questions that anyone has before I ask the speakers a final question? Well, so what parting remarks would each of you leave with folks on tips, best way to tell your story, and
Guess I will go first. Again, I think it's about just being authentic in your communication. As Callie said, like, people want to hear these stories. And so it's easy to get people's attention. And just, there's a lot of negative media out there too. And so this is our chance to show some of the really great things that we're doing, you know, behind the scenes sometimes. And so it's okay to toot your own horn, be confident about it, show the world what you're doing, because it's really hard and it's really good work. And again, capitalize on your partners. Your partners are here to support you. And they say it takes a village, and we truly are a village. And so just really focusing on that.
Yeah, and I would just add a thank you. Thank you for the work that you are doing. I just love being able to see things come through our news feed, come through our email, come through social media, and see all the amazing work that's happening at the local level. So to piggyback off of what Casey just said, toot your own horn, please do. And remember that Virginia Farm to School, it's so big. There's so much that you're doing that people want to know about and that we want to help you promote as well. And never be afraid to send someone an email, give someone a call. Of partners or an organization maybe that you haven't worked with before. People are always so excited to connect. And sometimes persistence is key, and that's okay. So be persistent, and thank you so much for just the work that you are out in the field doing.
And I would just like to add, to continue to toot your own horn, start with just taking pictures. I don't go anywhere without my camera, and managers know that anything that comes up, they're always saying, Ronnie wants pictures, Ronnie wants pictures. And then I can share that with social media throughout the country, throughout the state, wherever it might be. I send things to School Nutrition Association. I send it to the School Nutrition Association of Virginia, within Chesterfield, to VDOE, to Cali. That says a lot, just that alone. And then don't be afraid. I think, to take those videos or try something, try making a flyer, or, just start somewhere. They'll be glad to see whatever your contribution is. It's just a process, and it does take time. And I can say over the 7 years I've been here, it's gotten better because I've had more experience doing it, but I've enjoyed every moment of it, and I know you will too. So, and especially your stakeholders in the community. So thank you very much.
We'd like to thank our panelists again so much for their willingness to be here today. We really appreciate you attending and encourage you to check out the webinar website. Stuart, maybe you can put that in the chat box for us. And we will have more upcoming webinars. These are happening every month up through the end of the year. So if you want to learn more about the toolkit chapters, we'll be talking next time, I believe, is on procurement. We'll have food safety. We'll have delivery and distribution and classroom gardening, all kinds of great ones that are going to be up and coming. So encourage you to check that out. We thank you again for being here, and hope you all have a wonderful rest of today and enjoy this wonderful spring weather. So thank you all so much.